things. And so we want to find out at a time like this, how do you pick there's something strange happening within your circles, there's somebody who's consuming, how do you diagnose that, and then how do you help? To help us get a grip with this, I have in the studio a gentleman called Geoffrey Nzili. Geoffrey Nzili wears so many hats. He's number one, a counseling psychologist. Secondly, he's also a community nurse. And then at the same time, he's an expert when it comes to nutrition. And you know, all these things come together to form a very well-versed person. Karibu sana Nzili.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, yes, Nzili, let me ask you, as a community nurse, you obviously interact a lot with the community.
Yes.
I've just made a statement here that I saw somewhere, based on data, that almost every other family in Kenya is either directly or indirectly affected, in the sense that there's somebody within your circles that is abusing either alcohol or drugs. How true is this when you maneno ikikuja kwa ground?
Yes, thank you very much for having me in today's conversation. Actually, it's a very interesting and very important topic to have a discussion on. Putting into consideration at the moment we have vacations and the holiday coming through at the moment, so it's exactly what is reflecting in the ground there. Majority of the families are either affected or infected in one way when it comes to diseases, but use of drug is one of those aspects in terms of diseases. That, like, alcohol is considered as a disease. Alcoholism is a disease. Yes, it's considered as a disease.
Of all the addictions we are talking about, which is worse?
The leading is alcohol.
The leading in
alcohol will always be, even when it comes to substance abuse, alcohol will be the leading. Always is the alcohol that is leading.
In the country today?
In the country today.
Yes.
Because even if, when you look at other conversations that I've been having out there with other people, majority of the people, the leaders we are having, they are talking of illicit brews, the traditional brews, also the manufactured one, alcohols, all being available in the society. One of the substances that is available, highly available, alcohol. Yes.
And let me ask you a question. Maybe because of your interaction with so many people, you might be able to help me on this.
Yes.
One of the counties that is considered to be, actually the county considered number one in alcohol abuse is Kakamega.
Yes.
But the worst affected is the counties in Central.
Yes.
I wonder, Kakamega, they drink a lot.
Yes.
They do their changas, they do all this.
Yes.
But somehow, I don't know, maybe you can help us understand, how come the drinks they take do not have the kind of effect of the drinks that are being taken in Central?
To start with, how they formulate their traditional brew there.
Yes, for example, in Western.
Yes, in Western, is totally different from what is formulated or what is made in the other regions like the Central one. Looking at also in the factor of the business part of it. That, for example, if you are brewing the traditional brew, there are those factors that will push the person who normally makes this changa or this traditional brew to make it. Like, for example, it might be into business that I want so many customers, or for example, they have so many customers coming to consume their concoctions, and then they look for ways on how do I make this one ready very fast, the brew.
To prepare
the
so
preparation.
That it doesn't have to take as long as it normally does.
It does.
The shortcuts.
The shortcuts are the ones that are causing or that are making those brews that are consumed in areas like Central to be very, very detrimental or very unhealthy for human consumption. So one of the factors that I look at in that is the formulation of this concoction. how has it been made? Which procedures or processes that have been laid down to come up with this brew, for example? Traditionally, look at long time ago, brew has been there, and the ancestors or those who lived Napo Nyuma, they have been taking all this. But as the technology has been coming through and other factors coming through, people becoming a little bit of wanting shortcuts, they want to capture the biggest, to meet the needs, the demands.
Yeah.
So they look for shortcuts that will make this brew ready within, for example, 2 days.
While probably it's supposed to take even 4 hours
or even a week, a week to be ready. That can be consumed and then maybe to have a very few or little or even less effect on human health. Remember, anything that one puts in their mouth, at the end of the day, it contributes in one way or the other in some damages of the cells and or affects their health status in one way.
Yes.
So when we are now considering people taking things that are not that have not been made following the stipulated procedures that have been laid down, then that one becomes a substance that is able to cause major harm.
So most of the brews that are being consumed in central Kenya,
yes.
Because that's where there is an endemic or an epidemic, in the sense that people are becoming so addicted and they become zombies.
Yes.
Whereby you go to a center, and majority of the young people are just there drunk, dead drunk. People just sleeping. And in fact, the population of Central has taken a major dent because of alcohol and substance, and mostly so alcohol abuse.
Yes. Now, for the aspect, remember we have said that formulation aspect, then if it doesn't meet the standards of human consumption, then it will have major effect. One of them is if you take a substance that is able to destroy or to affect in one way or the other. That's why you find they are staggering, wengine wamelala kwa mitaro, in such a stuff. And then these substances are very harmful. Because when you look at the whole thing, how they are taking the brews and the changas, maybe this individual has not even eaten anything.
Yes. True.
For the 24 hours or even the 3 hours or for a long duration of time. And whatever they are also taking, if they will claim that they have taken it, maybe it's a food of low quality that cannot even withstand the negative effect or the strongness that is in this concoction. So unapata inawaweza virahisi. And in most cases, or the substances that they will mix to make this brew very fast, as per what they will say, unapata there are chemicals that are able to affect the brain, the functioning aspect of brain, such that this individual can
chemicals.
Yes. Most of them, they will be chemicals. That are, when you do a very close follow-up of those substances, if for example you analyze them, you can get or you can find out that the biggest aspect of the biggest chemicals that are used to make those changas will have a stronger effect to the brain. And remember, when the more one takes alcohol, the more the brain cells tend to be damaged by the use of alcohol. So if
the brain cells.
Yeah, the brain cells.
So the more you're consuming this substance, the more your brain cells are being destroyed and damaged.
Slowly being destroyed, because most of those substances will be able to cross the brain barrier.
What do you mean the brain barrier?
Within the brain there is a barrier that usually protects substances that an individual might take either accidentally or incidentally, or maybe intentionally or unintentionally.
Yes.
That if this individual took this substance without them knowing, it would reach the brain very fast. So there is that barrier that is usually there in the brain that is protecting the parts of the brain from any substance that one takes. So if an individual takes a substance that is able to, that has that capacity to cross that barrier, then the more the damage will be very high.
Yes.
So, if it's repeatedly done and done day out, day in, day out, an individual who is taking alcohol for like 7 good days consecutively,
yes,
then the more the
damage,
or the higher the damage. That's why you will find most of them, they will not be able to have a convincing conversation. For example, when they are drunk, or even after they have taken the alcohol and then they have stayed for a particular duration, then for them to regain their activeness becomes, a phase or a period that you cannot have a conversation with this individual na mwezi eleana. So until akujafike mahali, I have this thought, or maybe this tumbler, the way they put it,
yes,
and then from there it's when now at answer.
It's like he becomes normal when he takes.
Yes, when he takes that. But now that and look at the aspect of addiction. Currently, it's becoming very it's occurring at a very fast rate. Like an individual starts taking this substance now, and then all of a sudden, within a very short duration exposure to that substance, then ameshakuwa addict.
You're saying that the substance people are taking, yes, are becoming so potent,
yes,
that the period which
one is developing the addiction
has become shorter. You consume it for a few, and then you become an addict.
Yes, an addict, very fast. As compared to initially, when you look at an individual, for example, when you look at other substances that are also in those categories of, yes, the ones that are highly abused, when you do that comparison, you are seeing there is a significant shift of the curve.
And this could probably mean that there are more substance that are being put into these, yes, drinks to addict people more.
Addict people more.
Yes.
Like also when you look at their concentration, when you look at their concentration, for example, you find it's very high. Because look at the other manufactured alcohols, they have the percentage in terms of alcohol content that they need to be containing in that liquid.
Yes.
So when you raise that one past that standard that has been set, then you have manipulated that product.
And it becomes more harmful.
Yes, more harmful. And remember, if this individual was exposed, like, for example, alikuwa exposed to the previous one,
yes,
that used to, to make them high at after 3 hours of taking this,
yes,
and then they have taken another substance that is bringing that effect within a shorter duration than that, then there's a significant change in how the body will respond to that. Like, for example, if I use an example of a coffee, for example,
yes,
if someone is using coffee,
yes,
or they have been used to taking coffee so much, yes, that if you feel like a slight headache, then you take a cup of coffee, then your headache disappears.
Yes.
Remember, maybe you used 2 cups, 2 spoons of coffee, or of the coffee. Then tomorrow you decide, I want to add another 2 spoons of coffee,
yes,
to this cup of mine, and then I start, and then I take. Trust me, that will be a different concoction compared to what you have been taking.
The economists call it the law of diminishing returns.
Yes,
in the sense that for you to get a certain high,
yes,
you will need to take more than you took yesterday,
yes,
to get to that level. And,
right,
and this continues.
And this continues. And this, now that makes the adjustment of the body. The body will just adjust to that, because it needs to be there very fast, so that I feel like a high. It's like also when one is taking alcohol and then they are moving also to that, the other manufactured one might start with 2 bottles per sitting. They take 2. Tomorrow they take another one, they add another one, those becomes 3 bottles.
Yes.
Next time they add another one.
And this, I was talking to maybe you can confirm this or otherwise.
Yes.
There was a gentleman who was saying most of the people who are addicted, yes, to alcohol, yes, or whatever substance,
yes,
most of the time is they have a problem which in their minds, yes, they believe, yes, the medication to that problem is the drink. So until you deal with the problem,
Yes.
they will always fall back to the drink.
Yeah, for people with substance abuse, the use of the substance, it's determined by so many factors.
Yes.
Like, for example, how you're putting it, right? That if one has got a problem, that they feel the only medication is alcohol, then that's not the right aspect to put it. Like, when you look at these substances, those substances that are able to have an individual or body to function in a different way, in that they are able to stimulate or to stimulate the body. It's a process. And then remember the use of them. If one has a problem, what will make this individual feel that this is the solution to my problem? Especially when, for example, if an individual has got stress, when they take that, for example, they take alcohol, they go to take alcohol so that they are able to forget. That will be just influence of the brain's thinking capacity. But
the problem is still there.
The problem is still there. So use of substance cannot
does not sort out
does not sort out any problem that one could be having.
What could explain the reason why we are seeing an increase in the number of people who are taking, who are becoming, addicted, and at the same time, the age? Yes. What is the general age of the people that you are interacting with who are on this level?
When you look at in terms of age compared to the addiction, the age is decreasing.
Decreasing in the sense that? In the sense that
it's moving from, initially we end people at 50th floor of 50s when I do.
Yes.
Wakisemekana they are the people when were addicted because maybe they have been using these
for a very long time.
Yes. Remember we have said there is a change in the products that are available. So even you will find also what were the age of 15?
What?
16, 17?
Addicted?
Even the first, yes. They are there.
Well, you're finding people of the age of 15 and 16 addicted?
They have started using the substances and then they are addicted.
Wow.
That's
a disaster.
Like when you look at that age, the age in high school, probably
yes,
high school, and also those who are early joining the colleges and the stuff, that age, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, up early 20s, 30s, as we are moving up, but yes, when you look at the curve, it's continuing. Simply because maybe they are starting using these substances as early as possible, or very early, and then at the same time, the substances that are also available,
yes,
they are also contributing to that, and then so many factors that are coming to.
So now we are seeing a younger generation. The generation that is supposed to be very productive. This is the generation that is being initiated into these drinks.
Yes.
And they are becoming addicted.
That, for example, it's when you walk around, when I normally walk around and do a little bit of data collection here and there, and then most of the times you go, for example, I do the observation in terms of clubbings. Clubs are full of young generation.
True.
That is very energetic. And it is all over in the social media. That you find some picking the clips and then putting them in the social media. How they have been, dancing overnight in clubs, very early in the morning when you're at 4, at 5, 6, you find very young generations coming out of the clubs at that time. So it means that the level of addict has dropped from being old age to the young generation. They are in that category.
Is there a possibility that from the parents' perspective, we've become so liberal with our children? I remember for us going to the clubs. Before you got permission to go out clubbing, oh my goodness. It's like you had to go through so many hurdles.
Yeah, true.
But it looks like right now we are making our children our friends, and they feel that we are at the same level, so they can go out when we go out.
Yeah, so...
is parenting playing a role in what we are seeing?
To start with, let's look at it in this perspective that we have the smallest unit of socialization, as per the sociology, being the family.
Yes.
And family incorporates the aspect of parenting.
Yes.
And when you look at the current parenting, it has some questions. There is a lot that is needed when it comes to parenting at the moment. Why we are saying that is that when I try to look at the aspect of parenting, you know there is parenting and there is responsible parenting.
There is parenting and responsible parenting.
Yes.
So what we are experiencing now mostly is parenting.
It's parenting.
Not responsible parenting.
Responsible parenting. Because for parenting, it will simply have the description of that, how one is able to raise the kids as a parent. Yes.
It's like Genesis chapter 5 where we are given the genealogy of some of these men, so-and-so, boss so-and-so, and he lived for 600 years and died.
Yes, and anybody can become a parent.
Any person can become a parent. You can... you can procreate. Any person can procreate. But now, being a responsible procreator, a parent, that's where the rubber meets the road.
That's the turning point of the event.
Yes.
That anybody just wakes up and thinks that, yes, I'm a parent. I can be a parent. That's okay, and it's 100% true and allowed that one can be a parent.
Yes.
But being that responsible parent, so that for you to have responsible parenting, there's a gap, a very big gap.
Yes.
Yes.
There's also a gap. Could it be the role of the media?
Yes.
Okay, not EBN, because EBN we believe in very high morals and we are Christ based, but that's what you can call the secular media. You are projected as the man, the the alpha, when they see you with a glass of wine or something like that. I remember when I was growing up, that was the image of the man that I had. Could this also be leading to that on TikTok, whatever?
Change of technology. When you look at change, how the technology has changed, so many things have occurred, and that's why we are saying, when you look at the parenting aspect of it, and the technology that has come, there is a mixing aspect that the old parenting or the right parenting aspect and the change in media, if you are not able, remember as a responsible parent, you have to identify what now the family is consuming. And one of the aspects of a responsible parenting aspect is meeting the needs of the family members.
Maybe I'm meeting the needs of my family. I'm doing everything a father is supposed to do. I'm providing and all that. How do I pick up some of the signs that there's a possibility either my son or my daughter is misusing drugs or alcohol, for that matter? What are some of those symptoms, both behavioral, that I can pick up and start probably focusing even more to establish whether this is happening in my house?
One thing, substance use or any substance that is any use of substance is always related to behavior.
It affects behavior.
It's built from behavior. If one has to use a substance...
Hold on. You say it is built by behavior?
Yes, from the behavioral aspect of an individual.
So before
before once
drinking is an offshoot of something happening in there.
Before one start the activity of, for example, taking a substance.
Yes.
That act of taking it, there is a behavior that has developed. There is a behavior that is triggering that individual to engage in that activity. And
so you're talking about cause and effect.
Yes, cause the causal aspect, major one being the behavior, the behavior aspect that is built from the first. We are looking at the family aspect.
Yes.
That if an individual or in a family where we have teenagers, how can we tell this teenager or this child has started using a particular substance or they are abusing a particular substance? One thing I'll encourage a parent who has got teenagers, first is that be an observant parent. A parent who is able to make observations. And these observations, you cannot make them when you are very far. When you have distanced yourself with your kids or the children,
yes,
you cannot make the observation. And then at the same time, be an involved parent.
Participate in the life.
Participate in the life
of
this of the life of this child. Remember, responsible parenting also has a concept of like setting boundaries for the young ones and the teenagers, and helping them to meet the needs. So if you are not there, if you are not involved, and then at the same time you are not informed.
You're not involved. You're not informed.
Yes. Because if you are informed, it means that you have some information about the access of these drugs. How can these children access them? Who is parenting this? Who is taking care of these children when, for example, I'm not there? Because when you look at current parenting, the question that I'm asking in most of the forum is that who is parenting? Who is parenting? Because remember, we have said one can be a parent. That's me. But who is taking these responsibilities of being a parent?
That's a very important question, because in most cases, because the parents want to make sure that their kids have a good life.
Yes.
So from majority of parents are doing from 8 to almost 10 p.m. So their kids are being brought up by house helps.
Yes.
And by TV.
Yes, by other also social media.
Yes.
That is not having the quality of parenting or responsible parenting. That who is that with who is now involved in raising this child in my absence or in the absence of this parent? That as long as, one thing people are not getting, it's not all about they are fed, they have slept well, medical wise they are not sick, they are having all that. No. If you are telling me that, for example, an individual is providing for the family, yes, they have brought maybe they have brought the same ungali, what they normally say, ungali kwa table, but you are not there when they are taking that. How will you tell that who has taken what, who has not been satisfied, who has been satisfied, and you are not there? How will you tell? You cannot.
You cannot.
You cannot. So the same case when you are raising these children, and when we are trying to have them, that we are saying you must be informed, and at the same time you must be involved in their lives. And one thing for sure you'll agree with me is that you don't need 100 hours for you to be with your family, so that you are informed and you are involved. That single minute that you get with your family, how do you spend it? Do you even understand how these children are doing? And then at the same time, parents, they also need to be friends with their children.
With their children?
Yes.
But how do you make them your friends, but at the same time, because I see a situation where parents have made their children their friends.
Yes.
And they're so friends to a point where the children have forgotten, these are my parents. These are authorities in my life. They say this, I need to do this.
Yeah. For the aspect of parenting, parent-to-child relationship, or the friendship that should be there, if you are a responsible parent, you'll have the boundaries when you are developing the friendship, because you are the one who is involved in building this link between you and the children.
Yes.
If you are responsible enough, they will know when, for instance, the parent wants this. This, you are setting you are being the role model.
They know when this is a line we can't cross.
Yes, this is the line for our parents, and this is what our parents want for us.
Now, in terms of behavioral, because quite a number of people, parents now have their children back home.
Yes.
What are some of those things that I should look out for? If he acts like this, probably he is. If he does this, probably he is.
Okay, number one, we have, let's look at, we can classify them in different aspects. We have the psychological aspect of this kid, and you also have physical.
Let's start with probably start with the physical, because they are easier probably to note.
Yes.
Yes.
For the physical, what for example, a parent might figure out when this kid is using substances. One, I'll go for temperament. Temperament.
Yes.
For like the posture of this, the posture, like things to deal with the dress code. The dress code
changes.
Yes, it changes rapidly. That, for example, this child is at home, but physically they are not involved in like, for example, maybe they want to stay with one particular cloth for like 2 to 3 days or.
So he's not changing his clothes.
Yes, he has
general hygiene.
General hygiene
is lacking.
It's lacking. Like you have to remind them that
there's a bathroom, there's water, there's
you have not combed your hair today.
Yes.
You have not gone for shaving, for example. You have not. This cloth of yours has got some stain. A visible stain that maybe it's obvious to check or to identify. But
they appear not to care.
Yeah, they are less concerned about that, or maybe they are not aware about that. Yeah.
So there's general hygiene.
General hygiene.
The clothes. They're not taking showers.
Yes. Also, the physical involvement in what? In activities, our chores. Like, for example, he or she might be told, clean the table. And then, literally, they are not.
They just open the fans.
They just there. They are just, no activities involvement within the house chores.
Yes.
Like, for example, those chores that these teenagers or the young generation have to participate or to learn from the house family level. They are not getting involved in that. So they are just there.
They're just at home.
Yes.
They're dirty, stinking because they've not showered.
Yes.
Then they've not washed their clothes.
Yes.
They're not participating in things that they used to participate in.
And even if they have to, they have to be forced a little bit.
They have to be forced to participate in what they're...
Yes. When a parent assigns a particular duty to a child, that he or she is finding it so difficult to do that activity until maybe he or she sees one of the parents at home.
Yes.
Or maybe the time. Hey, mom is coming, mom is almost there.
So that's the time they do. So when you start seeing this thing, the physical appearance of your child is changing. They care very little for general cleanliness.
Yes.
Yet they used to.
Yes, than they used to be. Then there is something that's something that there must be something that is triggering that.
Yes.
Also, maybe when they go out, maybe they're not coming back at the stipulated time. For example, maybe ametumwa kitu kama nini, kama sukari. Go and pick sukari from the canteen. But it's just a walking distance of 5 minutes, but they are spending like 30 minutes or even two.
You have a reason to be concerned.
You have a reason to be concerned. And also, for example, when they come back from an event or they gone out, how they are appearing, how they are coming, either staggering or maybe having some physical blisters, cuts, change of, like, for example, when they work on a knocks, they are bleeding, they have some cuts. Then maybe they engaged in fights that are contributed by use of these substances, or stuff like those in terms of physical.
And it's very, by the way, as a parent, it's very important for you to know the parties that your children are going to. I had a conversation with a lady the other day, a friend of ours, of our family, who told us their kids were called for a party. Known people, they were called in for this party. This girl had never taken beer. All she realizes, she remembers, is that somebody gave her some juice. And she drank the juice and could tell it wasn't tasting the normal. So she drank it. And in the morning she was telling the mom, "Oh, mom, I have a serious headache." And she was asked, "What did you do at the party?" "No, me, I just took juices and that kind of stuff." So the parent realized that during the party, somebody had added either an alcoholic drink or something into the drink of their daughter. So the thing is if your children have to go for parties and that kind of stuff, make sure you tell them what happens in those parties, because we have something that is being used a lot these days. It's a drug. It's a date rape drug, where somebody just drops a drug into your drink. It dissolves, dissipates to a point where you can't tell that that drink has been spiked. So psychological now. We've dealt with the physical, which is general and clean hygiene. They're not showering, they're not washing their clothes, they're not participating, they're withdrawing basically. They're withdrawing from some of the things that they normally used to do. They're now very secluded to themselves. And what else?
For basically for any activity that can be actively performed by these teenagers, and then a parent finding it that they are struggling to make this child perform that duty, then there must be suspicious. There must be something that is beyond that.
Okay, now let's take a look at the psychological.
For the psychological, there are so many varieties of things that one can identify. One of them is not, for example, let's start with oversleeping. Like, for example, they have been actively waking up as early as possible, and maybe we are ruling out the presence of sickness. Maybe they are sick or something. In a daily situation, they are finding it. They are extending. They are
they're sleeping a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot. Number two,
one of my cameraman called Alan is looking at you very concerned.
Yes, because because okay, most of the people say like, for example, when Geoffrey when I was in, but it's true that if you find them overdoing it, like, for example, they can lock themselves in a room and then they sleep, for example, from night all the way mpaka saa 9 saa 7 they are waking up
the following day. Those are alarm bells.
Yes, those are alarm bells. That you are the one who is going to knock at the door, and then you're like, you
can't be sleeping 2 days.
Are you happy?
Continuously.
Yes, continuous. That one. Two, when you are having a conversation with them, then it's not maturing up. You know, a conversation that you used to have a conversation with your kids,
Yes.
but now they are like, when you're having a conversation, it's not they are not opening up to that, and then at the same time, you as a parent, you are getting lost within that conversation, because
yes.
they are
so they're more incoherent.
Yes.
In their conversation.
Yes, they have been using a substance that maybe at a point they are thinking that no, this is not the right person to have this conversation with, so they have to be a little bit blocking off to the conversation, or the conversation aspect of it. So if that one is not adding up, and then from that, remember, arguments will start now coming up. And then they will also now start complaining of things like headache. You know, maybe they wake up complaining of headache, hangovers.
So when you start having a lot of arguments with your children,
Yes.
a lot of arguments that you were not having before,
Yes.
You have to be able to tell them apart, because there are probably some arguments that come up because this person is becoming their own.
Their own, yes. So
While there are those arguments where the arguments don't make sense,
Yes.
Losing temper so many times.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the same time, they might also look absent-minded. They might be absent-minded. Like, for example, you are in the table, that having, for example, lunch, supper, or any event that is bringing the family together, they are absent-minded.
Yes. They are there, but not there.
But they are, yes, they are there, but they are not, you know, they are thinking of, like, you know, it's like they have low self-esteem. Their self-esteem is actually going down and down and down. And also, there is the aspect of fear factor that comes in. That you were close to this child, and all of a sudden, they don't want much involvement with you.
Yes.
As a parent.
They are withdrawing.
Yes, they are just distancing themselves a little bit. You know, a little bit, you know. They used to enjoy your company. You're there, you're talking of this and this and this. Like, for example, you are involved in what? Kwa shamba, you can go with them.
Yes. Yeah.
But now, as they have started using these substances, you know, some have got smell that you can detect, or
Yes.
you can feel the smell. So they don't want to be that close.
They want to keep away from you so that you don't pick it.
Yeah, you don't pick that aspect, or they don't, you know, get such an aspect.
Because of time, how do we deal with this?
I've
identified. Now, what's my next move?
Early detection of these substance and substance-related abuse is usually beneficial. It's able to make the management or treatment, or the care for these children a little bit better and easy.
Yes.
Like, for example, if you identify such a gaps.
Yes.
As a responsible parent, if you chip in and then now you start sourcing for solution,
yes,
not creating a solution, not creating another problem,
yes,
then it becomes easy.
How should the conversations be? I've identified that my child is taking drugs or alcohol.
Yes.
I've noted all those symptoms.
Yes.
Should I be confrontational, or how am I supposed to address them?
Most of the parents will go for confrontational aspect approach, which is not, at the end of the day, it doesn't, it creates more problems than solving the problem that is already existing, or that we have identified.
Yes.
So the best aspect that we have said, they need to be more friendly than confrontational aspect. But, you know, they need to bring them close, and then they try to find out
what is happening.
What is happening? How could this have started with? Who is that introducing this child to this to this entrance?
Yes.
Because if you confront them, and then there is a source who is applying, the access is still there.
Yes.
Then he or she might run away, and then where? Towards the source of this substance.
Because I've noticed that persons who have been affected by this,
Yes.
they tend to believe that the person who's supplying them with whatever it is they're supplying
Yes.
is closer to them than people at home.
Yes, in most cases, you find that it starts probably within the family or close relative who is there.
They're the ones who introduce.
Who are introducing. In some aspect or in some context, they will say there is that spoiled uncle in quotes, and that
uncle,
spoiled
yes.
aunt in quotes. So such aspect they need to be identified, and then now the conversation has to be more of friendly than being judgmental and accusing this young kid of like, why are you joining the use of meanderati? Why are you taking this? Who has shown you this? You know. In fact, the conversation should be more of bringing them closer to us,
yes.
so that we understand them more than creating that boundaries of like being excessively judging them and pushing away towards the substance. Yes. Yes.
So we talk to them, we make them our friends.
Yes, we bring them closer.
We bring them closer.
Yes, and then remember we have said
depending on the level of addiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also depending on the aspect of exposure to this substance, maybe it's they are at the starting point. If they are at the starting point, then it becomes easy. But remember, we have said this parent nowadays is not there because they are so engaged that kitambo akuja notice something has been happening to my kids and children. Then maybe time imesonga.
Yes.
The addiction has been to a high level that this individual requires rehabilitation. For example, to be taken to the rehab or a facility for now. Rehabilitating this kid. Yes.
So we rehabilitate them and we'll get them back.
Yes, we need now.
But at the same time, before you take them for rehabilitation, the person must identify that they need help. I've heard that many times.
Counseling now comes through, and then when we are counseling these teenagers or the young children, that the parent involvement has to be there. That if I have to sit down and have a conversation with this child, we also need to create the aspect of us having also another conversation. The child who is engaged in substance abuse being present,
yes.
And also the caregiver, depending
yes.
on the age, because this parent has a role,
Yes.
Yes. So if when we talk to them alone, we also need to involve the other parenting aspect to come through, so that it becomes they get the sense of what we are discussing about, because you can talk to them, you can counsel them, and then the implementation aspect of it becomes an issue. So if they see someone who is supportive, who, the parent coming through to support them in this process, then they realize, okay, yes, here I meant a mistake, maybe I was misinformed, and then now they are ready now to take the correct and the right path and get out of the addiction and the use of substances.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nzili, for taking time to come and talk to us.
Thank you very much.
I really pray that I can see quite a number of people watching.
Yes.
Anthony A.C., good topic.
Yes.
We need to get involved in the lives of our children.
Yes.
Completely involved.
Completely.
So that we can be able to snatch them
Yes.
In advance,
yes.
Before they get deeper and deeper into addiction.
Yes.
There are bad people out there who want to influence your children the wrong way, mess up their lives. A lot of this is introduced in school, is introduced in groups, and so you need to get involved in your children's life so that you can pick changes that are taking place in them. As Nzili said, they are psychological and they are physical. So you need to be able to pick them both. And once you pick them, then you're able to direct your children in the right direction and save them.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Anthony.
Thank you.
Remember at 9, we're going to have Your Faith today. We're looking at very interesting topics concerning your faith and how your faith can be able to help you in your interaction with this life, so that you don't have a faith that is only beneficial in heaven and not here. We need you here so that you can influence things here on earth. And then in the afternoon we'll have Manukato. So don't go away.